I think it's true of anything that you do, like not just the music industry, but it's always about surrounding yourself with people that you trust and get on with. I think that defines who you are and what you do quite strongly. I suppose there are some people that, I mean, it is a cutthroat industry for a number of reasons, really. But I think you can only really trust your own instincts, and sometimes it goes wrong. Just don't take it too personally and just move on, really. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, that's a really hard one, because like, there's no way you're ever going to, like, you're always going to encounter difficult situations and cutthroat situations and points where your trust in people is questioned. But I think at the end of the day, you kind of need to just trust your own instincts and surround yourself around people you trust. With Boiler Room, I suppose if you've got a company name, I mean, the problem is with Boiler Room, it kind of grew into being Boiler Room. It wasn't, you didn't necessarily look at it and go, right, we're going to start a project and call it Boiler Room. It was very much, we found we had something and we needed to kind of give it a bit of a banner. Like, we didn't have a website for the first year, and we didn't have a Facebook page for like the first year and a half. So, I mean, when it comes to like stuff like naming and branding, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. I mean, the approach I've had really is for like your product or your project to kind of grow into a name, and you know, not really worry about it too much, because essentially, if your product or project is good, like that name, I mean, you know, Boiler Room, essentially, those two words have nothing to do with music. You know, so if we were sitting there brainstorming names for a music project from the front, I doubt we would have come up with Boiler Room. It's just that we had it in a warehouse, and there was a boiler room downstairs, which we were planning on doing it in. So we're like, oh no, no, it wasn't even that. The sign on the door was quite nice, so we took a photo of it, and then it became Boiler Room. You know, we didn't sit down and think to ourselves, oh, yeah. I mean, it's a really weird one. Like, but then I suppose at the same time, once you've got a name, it does allow you, I suppose it does, in the business sense and in the branding sense, give you more of an identity. But you kind of build that identity, you know. I think Red Bull are probably quite a good example of like how you can change your brand name and move with it and make it quite, you know, malleable, because they're essentially an energy drink, but they've also got, you know, a great reputation in Formula One racing and music. You know, so I think you define your own name, to be honest. And with like using Thristian for my DJing, you know, just because I like, just with the stuff that I do, I'm quite like personal with it. And I remember reading an interview with Martin once, and he was kind of like, you know, if you have your name when you're DJing or not having an alias, then there's nothing really that you can hide from. So you kind of have to be honest with it. Like, you're putting your face and your name to it. So, you know, it's like in your interest that it doesn't fuck up. Everyone knows it's you. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to swear. But yeah, I don't really know how to answer that one, because yeah, I think you grow into whatever you know. If you have like a weird name that you know works with you and is quite personal to you and it's quite fun, and I don't know, you've got a textile company or whatever, or an agency, and you think, oh, that doesn't necessarily fit with what I'm doing, then I don't really think that makes a difference. You grow into whatever name you choose. There was a period in my life when I was like, basically, I finished uni and I was doing like promotions and working on artists and events and all that kind of stuff. I was doing that in the evening, and I had a studio and all that kind of stuff. I kind of convinced myself that I had a company, but I didn't really look back on it. And I was working part-time at a visual arts college. And for a number of reasons, one, they didn't want me to stay at the visual arts college. There was no, but at the same time, I didn't really want to stay I was doing my job, but I just wasn't really doing it amazingly. I was kind of like ticking the boxes. And so I left there. And so I left like having comfortable money that I could then pump into my side project. And then I didn't have any money. And I didn't want to, I felt like working part-time in a job that I didn't really care about was a bit of a waste of time. Yeah. So I ended up just like spending 6 months sleeping on my mate's like floor sofa in Finsbury Park and going back to my mum's every now and then. Applying for like jobs that I wanted to do. And then I basically, it took me ages, and I even like half gave up and became like a project manager for a new media company. But then I got a reply from Brownswood Recordings and Giles Peterson, and they gave me a job basically. I think that was that like 6 months there and getting that job, and then essentially the doors that opened through working for Giles, and the kind of like the understanding that, well, basically understanding that you can do what you want, you know, within remits. Obviously, you have to have a business sensibility about it, but you do what you want and survive off it, and come up with your own senses, and just be brave as well. To be honest, because you know, I was messing around with that job for like 2 years. Like, I could have just I should have just gone for it in the first place, really. But I was convinced that I don't know, it was like 16 grand a year or something, 16, 18 grand a year. Like, you know, it was kind of fun to have that in my bank account at the end of every month. But like at the same time, I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And everyone knew that. But it wasn't really fun, to be honest. I think that was quite a defining moment, to be honest. I think that was like the point where I was just like, okay, I might as well try it. And like, to be honest, if I didn't get a job after a year, I would have just ended up doing like a normal job, I suppose. Because at the end of the day, it's not, you know, they can go and do exactly what they want and work for it, but it's not for everyone, I suppose. I don't know, but you know, that was the point where I proved it to myself, and it could have gone left or it could have gone right. I don't know where it's gone yet, to be honest.